On this week's episode of the KGI Podcast, we turn the mic over to David Ha and Sandra Sanchez. David is an assistant professor of clinical sciences at KGI, while Sandra is a PharmD student who will graduate in 2020. During this conversation, they cover a wide range of topics, including the Professional Development Award recently earned by SSHP, Sandra's career aspirations, David's work as an infectious disease pharmacist at Pomona Valley Hospital Medical Center, and much more.
Well, Sandra, we really do appreciate your leadership in the organization, and I know we'll probably touch on some of this afterwards. But I think it's something that myself and a lot of the faculty have a lot of passion for the student society and how how it fits into sort of the larger state and national structure of, health system pharmacy organizations. And again, we can touch on that a little bit later. But could you introduce yourself to the listeners and describe how you found KGI?
First and foremost, thank you for having us here. And so I'm Sandra Sanchez. I'm a third-year pharmacy student here at KGI. And how I found KGI, I wanted to stay near home, so I started applying to some schools that are locally, and KGI was one of those schools. And during the interview process, I found that KGI was the school for me, and I'm glad that I was able to take upon this opportunity and be here as a student now.
So I can definitely think of one, but what student clubs and organizations are you part of, and how are those affiliations important to you?
So, of course, I'm part of the Student Society of Health System Pharmacists. In fact, I am the current chapter president of that organization. I'm also part of APHA, which is the American Pharmacists Association, and also Phi Delta Chi. It's a professional pharmacy fraternity. And just to go back to the Student Society of Health System Pharmacists, which is SSHP, it's comprised of two organizations. It's the California Society of Health System Pharmacists, which is CSHP, and the national organization, which is the American Society of Health System Pharmacists.
SSHP, which you mentioned, just received the Outstanding Professional Development Project Award. How was the organization able to earn that honor?
So every year we have to go through an application process so that we can be an ASHP recognized student chapter. And so, of course, this year we were a recognized student chapter. And by doing so, they provide us resources and opportunities for us to showcase events that we do during the year. And this came about, and so my e-board and members worked together to make a poster. And this poster can incorporate programs, services, fundraisers, so any event that we would like to highlight that had a great impact at our school. So we decided to do an on-farm camp, which is a community outreach event. And we felt that it has a great impact on students. We reach out to students, specifically elementary school students, middle school, and high school students from an underserved school district, and we touched upon hygiene, antibiotic awareness, and energy drink consumption. So we submitted that, and they evaluated us on content, creativity, outreach and impact, and just the overall impression.
So I think that's fantastic, and you're well deserving of the award, and very happy to see that ASHP, awarded our chapter with that amongst really just a small list of schools of pharmacy compared to all the student chapters that exist across the country. So, Farm Camp is really a great initiative, and I do remember one of our originating SSHP members from our charter class, Kim Nguyen, who's now a resident up in Wisconsin, and I just saw her at ASHP Midyear a few days ago. She was very involved in creating this, as well as Dr. Christine Cadiz, who's also one of the SSHP advisors, who I believe is working at the hospital right now, which is why she can't be here. So a very good reason. But it's a fantastic event and well deserved. So I know that you are just about a year and a half away from finishing pharmacy school. And so what are your plans? What are your career aspirations? Because there can be obviously lots of things you can do in the profession. So what are your plans at this point?
Yes, definitely. So coming into pharmacy school, all I knew was retail pharmacy. And I had heard of a role of pharmacist in the health systems, but I wasn't really aware what the role was. So I decided to join SSHP for that same reason, because they help you network. I'm pretty sure all organizations in school help you network, and they help you build leadership. But most importantly, SSHP has pushed me out of my comfort zone to pick up on leadership positions, like currently that I am president of the chapter. And it just helps me. It has allowed me to push myself to go to conferences. For example, CSHP seminar happened in October. And there I was able to meet inpatient managers, hospital directors, residents, and I can ask them questions that I wouldn't have been able to just being in the classroom. So by becoming part of SSHP, it has allowed me to dig deeper and learn what it entails to be a pharmacist in the hospital, in the health system. And so at this point, I think I will stick to hospital pharmacy. And so far, from talking from professors that I've had during the years that work in hospitals, it has really interested me, and I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to it. Great. All right, Dr. Hall, so now it's my turn. So can you describe your role at KGI and the work you do off campus as well?
Sure. So I am an assistant professor at the School of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, particularly in the clinical sciences department. And so what is, I guess, characteristic of many of the clinical faculty in our department is that while we also teach in the classroom, we also have active practice sites. And we also have a diverse number of specialties as well. So to that end, my specialty area is infectious disease, as you know, and my practice site is Pomona Valley Medical Center. And so obviously at KGI, I teach infectious diseases. I also teach an elective in antimicrobial stewardship, and then I dabble in various things that involve infectious diseases across the curriculum, whether that's immunizations, hepatitis C, or other types of things that are in various parts of the curriculum. At my hospital, I oversee our hospital's antimicrobial stewardship program, and so that actually, in that role, interestingly, I work somewhat little with pharmacists or the pharmacy department, and work primarily with other departments that engage in infectious diseases care outside of pharmacy, particularly infectious diseases physicians. I work pretty heavily with our microbiology lab. I'm pretty much there for a couple hours every day. Our infection preventionists, quality managers, and various other folks in the hospital, and of course our nurses as well. I'm charged with, obviously I see patients there and sort of have administrative duties to oversee how antibiotics are prescribed at my hospital, and that responsibility has now extended outside of the hospital into some of our outpatient clinics and other areas like that. And the only other hat, well, there's several hats, but the only other hat major hat that I wear would be working with the Los Angeles County Health Department. We do a lot of activities with regard to antibiotic resistance and antibiotic stewardship across the country. Right now we're planning a countywide education event for outpatient prescribers. And so besides that, I do a whole lot of research, on infectious diseases, specific topics, and general public health topics. And most recently, we got a grant from the CDC to do some national immunization work with the National Community Pharmacists Association. So that is very, very exciting.
Wow, thank you, Dr. Hall. That's very inspiring. So up next, can you talk a bit about the importance of being an advisor and why you chose to help SSHP?
I think one of the important things to understand about our various pharmacy organizations is to realize the value that they bring, and that really no single organization provides the full value to really any practicing pharmacist. And so I find myself being a member of ASHP, CSHP, APHA, various other ID societies, and the California Pharmacists Association as well. But why I chose to work with SSHP, this goes back to our charter class and starting the chapter when I was extremely involved with helping our students write up the bylaws and things like that to get our chapter off the ground, connect us to various local societies. I obviously work in the inpatient sector. I actually grew up as a child of SSHP in a way, and I was very involved locally when I was in San Diego with the San Diego Society of Health System Pharmacists, which is a local affiliate of the California Society and the American Society. And it was the networking and education and just opportunities that I got from being part of the chapter, getting prepared for my applications for residencies, just understanding what it meant to be a hospital health system pharmacist. Those were all very clear reasons why I wanted to work with this organization in particular, and so it's really afforded me the opportunity to work with lots of students, both through the organization in an official capacity, and then also with individual students, mentoring them through the process of finding their particular career path. And I actually just spent the last hour or so chatting with one of my first year residents at my hospital, trying to figure out whether or not she should do a second year residency. And so it's just really a lot of fun, and I like and obviously with awards like the ones that you and the chapter had received from ASHP, it's just really inspiring to see the energy and and things like that come from all this great stuff that comes from our student members. So.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ha, for your guidance as one of the advisors for SSHP, with your experience and the experience of the other advisors, and of course our previous executive board members and SSHP members. You guys have developed a great foundation for this organization. And for our listeners to understand better, what makes KGI's PharmD program unique?
Well, the best faculty, obviously. No, really. I mean, we have spectacular faculty, and I think that's something we all kind of know. Not biased, right? But I really do think that really what started it all was the vision that came from our president and from our founding Dean Webster, and President Schuster. I remember when I interviewed here a while ago with Dean Webster and President Schuster. They were very very forward thinking, not stuck in the past, not coming from the mentality of an overly established, overly rigid thought process of how to do things. And they really embraced the idea of innovation, practicing at the top of your license clinically, teaching at the, teaching to what in methods that are really supported by evidence, and not just, standing on a stage and talking at you about infectious diseases or something like that, but actually getting you involved, through active learning. So that focus and that passion for active learning was something that really attracted me here, and is really one of the strengths of the program. I really like, obviously, the fact that the school has used the same credit hours that are in any PharmD program, but use them in a more efficient and thoughtful way with regard to the electives, which essentially forms the foundation of the certificate programs for people to get into particular fields, whether it's clinical practice like you're interested in a hospital setting maybe, or someone who's interested in going into some aspect of industry like medical affairs or regulatory affairs or something like that. And I think that's what's kind of sealed it for me, is seeing our graduates, our charter class, actually graduate and get out there and see and actually seeing what they're able to accomplish. And speaking of ASHP mid-year meeting was just a few days ago, and so I was able to see a lot of our former or our alumni from the School of Pharmacy, and they are just all over the place in residency programs, fellowship programs. One of our students is in Rajan is the APHA executive resident, and so just hearing a lot of those things that they were able to do, and hearing about how their education was really tantamount to them achieving those things. That focused education just sort of seals it for me. So plenty of reasons, but at the end of the day, what makes a school great is its students, and we have fantastic students. So all those reasons.